Okay, welcome to this demonstration of the virtual pricing for profit simulation. Now, when you go into the simulation and open up your team's spreadsheet, the first tab you'll see is entitled the Game Overview. And the Game Overview just tells you and reminds you of some of the broad rules and what's going to be happening as you participate in the simulation. So, as you already know, you're one of 5 companies and you're going to be competing in a competitive market that will evolve. Your sole aim when you run this company with your team is to make the most profit you possibly can. Now, you are a one product business and the cost of goods for your product is 2 per unit, and the maximum selling price at the start with this particular market we're going into initially is going to be 6 per unit. Now, you have unlimited inventory to sell, so there are no constraints about how many customers you can supply. Now, this market will be a sealed bid market, so all of the bids must be prepared and submitted before the market opens, and there'll be no opportunity to change them as you go through the market results. Customers will be announced in order, and therefore you will find out as you go into the market and listen to the results of the market which customers you have won and which customers you have not won. Okay, if we move now to cycle 1, what you can see here is what your team will be shown as well. So you can see that there are 10 customers in the cycle 1 market, and I'm quickly going to go through that and explain it to you. So obviously customers are numbered 1 to 10. There are a total of 10 customers. The quantity that each customer wants to buy of this one product that you sell, customer 1 wants to buy 4, customer 2 wants to buy 3, customer 3, 2, 4, 5, and so on, right the way down to customer 10 who wishes to buy 2. Now, the maximum selling price we already know is 6 per unit. So just to make it easy for you here, you can see the maximum price that each customer is prepared to entertain for what they want. Now, there's an additional column here where we're introducing the idea of a freight cost. Now, obviously, some customers will be much closer to where you produce your product, and some customers will be much further away. And therefore, the freight costs give you an indication of their proximity to your manufacturing capability. Obviously, customer 1 has a freight charge of 1, customer 2 freight charge of 0, customer 3 freight charge of 0. So obviously customers 2 and 3 are very close. Oh, customer 4 has a freight charge of 4. There must be some considerable distance. So moving across here, you can see some of the key elements of the simulation. As you already know, the cost of goods sold is 2, and I've already explained the freight costs, which are different depending on each customer. Now, the cost to sell is 1 per order 1. So when you bid, you will only be paying 1 for those orders that you actually win. So that's an additional cost you need to think about. You also have a total fixed costs of 5, and they're going to be paid regardless of whether you win any customer orders at all. So you've got to think about the fixed costs of 5, the cost to sell for 1, and the freight costs as well as the cost of goods sold. Now, you can bid for up to 6 customers, no more than 6. And the way we're going to do that is you have to decide a price for the whole order. You already know what the maximum selling price is, and the price you're going to be offering is for the whole order. You can't have split orders here. You must bid for the whole order, and it must be a whole number. So the price that you set must be an integer. It can't have a decimal point or have fractions in it. And finally, just to remind you, you have unlimited inventory. So there's nothing to stop you going for as much as or the most that the 6 customers you could find in the marketplace. Okay, now before plunging straight in, it's probably a good idea in your team to have some sort of pricing strategy. So I'm going to pretend that you're now my team, and I'm going to propose a strategy. I'm going to suggest we go after those customers that have the smallest freight charge. And then if the freight charge is the same for some customers, then I want to go for the maximum quantity at that particular freight charge. So looking at that strategy, oh sorry, one more thing about my strategy. I'm going to assume that I'm only going to win one bid. So I'm going to be putting my fixed costs of 5 into my calculations when I work out what my price is, if I can. And we'll come on and see what I mean by that as we go through. So there are 2 customers with a freight charge of 0, and that's customers 2 and customers 3. So I'm going to select customer 2. Now you'll notice that the quantity that they wish to buy and the freight is populated immediately for you. So I'm going to come across here and do the same thing for customer 3. Now, quick one, if I made a mistake here, I hadn't realized I'd already selected 2, and I put 2 in again, then what you'll notice is both of them go red to tell you you've already prepared a bid for that customer. So I know I won't be able to bid for the same customer twice. So the next freight charges are customer 1 with 1, customer 6 with 1, customer 8 with 1, and customer 10 with 1. And actually that's 4 more, which means that would be my total 6 bids. So I'm going to go for customer 1. I'm going to go for customer 6. I'm going to go for customer 8 and customer 10. Okay, so now I've selected my customers. Now I'm going to work out my price. Now I know that this team, customer 2, has a quantity of 3, which means the maximum price I can charge is 18. Now, the cost of goods will be 3 times 2, which is 6. I've got to add that 1 in if I win, which is 7. And then I've got to add my 5 fixed costs. So 7 plus 5 is 12. So I've got to bid somewhere between 12 and the maximum price of 18. Well, I'm just going to bid 12. That's going to be my bid for that customer. And now moving to customer number 2, the quantity of 2 times 2 is 4. Then I've got to add the 5 in because that's my fixed costs. So that's 9 plus the 1 for winning, that's 10. And the maximum price for this is 2 times 6, which is 12. So I'm going to put my 10 in here. Moving on, quantity is 4. 4 times 2 is 8, plus the freight charge is 9, plus the cost of winning is 10, plus the fixed charge of 5 means 15. Now the maximum for customer 1 is 24, so I can put 15 down and that's okay. So my pricing strategy is working so far. Now, here we have a quantity of 1, which means the cost is 1 times 2, which is 2, plus the freight charge, which is 3, plus the cost of winning is 4, and then if I add my fixed cost of 5, that's a total of 9. However, the maximum price for this particular customer, which is customer 6, is 6. So I can't bid 9. So maybe I need to think about going for another customer with perhaps a bigger freight charge. And I'm going to do that. I'm going to change that to customer number 9 because they have a quantity of 4, which gives me some flexibility when I fix my price. So now quantity of 4 times 2 is 8, plus the freight, plus 2 is 10, plus the cost of winning 11, plus the 5 is 16. Now the maximum price for customer 9 is 24, so I'm all right with a price of 16. So I've had to change my strategy there because the customer I picked didn't allow me to put all my costs into my price. And I think I'm probably going to have the same problem here. In fact, I know I am. So I need to find another customer with a freight charge of 2, and I'm going to go for customer 5 now because I think that may give me more flexibility. So the total cost of goods is 3 times 2 is 6, plus the freight of 2 is 8, plus the cost of winning is 9, plus the fixed cost of 5 is 14. The maximum price is 3 times 6 is 18, so I can put 14 down. So again, I've had to change another customer because of my strategy, what I've decided to do. Finally, now we have customer number 10. Quantity of 2 times 2 is 4, plus the freight charge is 5, plus the cost of winning is 6, plus the fixed cost of 5 is 11. And so the maximum price I can charge here is 12, so I actually can put 11 in. So there are my 6 bids, and now I can see them all here. I can see the customer numbers and the order I bid them. I get the total quantity of 18 and the total freight charge of 6 and my total price. Now, if I was to win all of these, I know my cost of goods would be 18 times 2, which is 36, plus the 6 for freight, means it's 42, plus 6, 1 for each one winning, is 48, plus the 5 fixed costs is 53, and therefore 78 to 53. If I was to win them all, I should make a profit of around about 25. Excellent. So now I can see that my spreadsheet is saved, so I know the market's now ready for me, and I'm just going to go and prepare the facilitators area so I can show you the market and we can play the market out. Keep your fingers crossed. Let's see how many we've won.